Stop. I don't want you to put this build together the way you have it kitted out. Hi, welcome back to PC Builder. I'm Jason. This is Boost My Build, the series where we take your PC build lists, we tear them up, we put them back together, and massively increase your performance. And we've got two crazy builds for this episode. We've got a $2,500 Godzilla build, but it's not breathing fire anytime soon. It barely has enough performance to get started. And we've got a $1,000 1440p build with a 1080p crazy CPU and GPU combo. Can we help it and bring it back to 1440p? Remember, if you get value out of this video, please give it a like. It makes a huge difference to the channel. And of course, subscribe, click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. With that, let's jump into it. This video is sponsored by Micro Center, my favorite tech place on earth. Great news! Micro Center just opened its 26th store in Indianapolis, with Charlotte, North Carolina coming in early 2024. And they're home to the Ryzen 5600X 3D, which you can get right now with 16 gigs of RAM and premium ASUS motherboard for just $299. Or check out their build your own bundles this month, like this Ryzen 7700 with MSI B650 motherboard and 32 gigs of fast DDR5 for just $399, including the Starfield game. And new in-store customers get a free 256GB SSD. Right now, click on the link in the video description for store locations and to see their insane deals on PC parts, monitors, and more. All right, we've got Clover Shaman. Love the name, by the way. Hi, Jason. This is my $1,000 PC build, mostly going to be doing gaming, but a tiny bit of content creation also. They like to play Overwatch, Kingdom Hearts. I have never heard of Kingdom Hearts. I'll have to check that out. And maybe some other games like Skyrim and Elden Ring. And they're in the US. Okay, $1,000. This kind of a weird price point right now in terms of older hardware versus newer hardware. We'll go through that, I'm sure, in the build. Let's see what you got. Okay, oh, Nelly. Whoa. What are we doing here? Now, I said $1,000 was kind of a weird price point, and you're kind of proving my point here. Let's go through this. $849 is where you ended up. I note that there's no price in here for your cooler. Let's just throw another $50 in. So let's just say you finish at $900 total US, because I know that Thermalright Peerless Assassin goes for about $40 to $50 depending on which version of it you get. And I got to tell you right off the bat, terrible CPU GPU combo. Terrible CPU and GPU combo. What am I talking about? Let's start off with where else the GPU. Now you're like, Jason, what's wrong with the Gigabyte Eagle RX 6600 8GB GPU? It's $199. Comes with Starfield, the basic edition of the game, which is $70 value. Guys, that's great value GPU. Yeah, it's great value GPU for like a $500 or $600 build. $500 or $600 build, not for a $1,000 build. This is massively undersized for our build right now. Taking a quick look at the TechSpot RTX 4060 review data. I'll leave it linked down in the video description. Look at that. This is a 15 game overview, and this is at 1440p high settings. And a lot of these games actually that have ray tracing enabled by default have ray tracing enabled by default. You can see the RX 6600 49 average FPS at 1440p. Now, I would not obviously turn ray tracing on for the 6600, so you'll get better results than this, but yeah, this is not good. $1,000 should get us a 1440p capable PC. Jumping the rest of the platform, the Ryzen 5 7600X, I kind of both love and hate at $1,000. It's great at like $1,100, and it's not great at $900. It gets beaten out in terms of price to performance by the Ryzen 5600, but you start getting GPUs that are so fast, they start overcoming the 5600, and you need a faster one like the 7600 around this price point. So that's why this is a really challenging price point. I think I want to go to a cheaper platform, but let's see what kind of GPU we can put in here. The Ryzen 7600 might be the call at $220. We want super overkill on the cooler. That's fine. $37 nice. There's worse ways to spend our money. And honestly, the Thermalright Peerless Assassin, continue to recommend this as one of the best price to performance coolers out there. $38. I'm not going to beat you up too much. We could have saved probably about, 15 or 16 bucks here. Again, 15 or 16 here, 20 there. You get to a new GPU pretty quickly. A Gigabyte B650 Gaming X. Again, here's another area where we probably could have gone with a slightly cheaper motherboard, because although I really do like the features this one brings, I'll be honest with you, there's this kind of weird middle ground between the total entry level boards and then the boards with upgraded features, including upgraded audio, more at $200. And then you get this weird kind of space. I talk about this in our best Ryzen motherboard 2023 video when I'm talking about the B650s. I honestly think we could spend a little bit less money here easier if it gets us a better graphics card. I absolutely hate your RAM because 6000 CL36 is relatively slow, and this is an expensive kit. This is a $100 kit. So kits have fallen in price. Now, I know the G-Skill ones have not really fallen in price. Super good kits have come down, way down in price, and then you've got some kits that aren't so good that are just kind of stuck at this higher price points. So you got to be careful right now. The good news is that with AMD rolling out the new AGESA in BIOSes with all the motherboard vendors, Ryzen 7000 can run way faster RAM. You no longer have to like stick to 5600 speed because of that, as long as you update that BIOS. So I would love to see a 6000 CL30 kit here if we can. Samsung 970 EVO Plus, $50. Look, it's a great drive. Don't get me wrong. It's a great drive. Again, here's probably another $20 or so we're spending on a souped up drive that we probably don't need in terms of our overall gaming performance. $20 here, $20 there, $20 here, $20 there, and that's how our GPU ends up at a 6600. The problem with your Deepcool CC560 case that I found out in the last Boost My Build episode is it's actually not at B&H yet. I don't know why PC Part Picker does this. We are going to need to get you another case. I'd like this case, but just note that this is, when it does come into stock, these are just LEDs, so it's a single color. You can't change the color on this. There is an ARGB version of this that's currently available in Europe. Hopefully it comes to the US pretty soon. For the power supply, I totally hate the power supply. This is an F-tier rated PSU. Mr. Bear is here specifically to talk to you about this PSU right now. Mr. Bear, you can't, I know you like to sit right in front of the camera where it can't focus. Come sit with me. There we go. Mr. Bear is here to give you a hard time about your PSU. The Thermaltake Smart 500 watt 80 plus is just a pile of garbage, basically. This is F tier on the PSU cultist list. This is called the 80 plus white. The reason is it's a white labeled. There's bronze, there's gold, there's platinum, right? There's no color on this one, so people just call it the 80 plus white. And this one is F tier, replace immediately on the PSU cultist list. You do not want to buy this under any circumstances. We definitely need to get you a new PSU before you blow your rig up. Yeah, so all told, $887. Honestly, I'm not feeling it. I am not feeling this one at all. We can get way more performance for this price. And honestly, if we can go up to $1,000 for $1,000, you deserve awesome frames in all those games that you want to play. We can get them for you. I call this the $1,000 future-proof 1440p gaming PC because you are going to be able to play games now and into the future for $1,000 at 1440p. Let's punch through this. I finished at $999.89. All right, 11 cents less than $1,000. 2 thumbs up there. Let's talk about the GPU level of performance in this. I went with the ASRock Radeon RX 6700 XT. It's $329 right now. Fortunately, the one that had been selling for like $319 or $310 sold out right now. That's fine. $10 or $15 is not going to make that big a difference. This is a great GPU. I will say, just time out, that this video will probably come out the day that the 7700 XT and 7800 XT are announced. Could consider the 7700 XT. I don't expect AMD is going to price that thing very well, so this will continue to remain a great value. I will say they may have some price cuts on the 6700 XT as that 7700 XT launches, so just look for those. Probably by the time you see this video, they'll be there, but this is going to be a great GPU for you to pick up. Let's talk a little bit about the performance level. 74 average FPS. This is the tech spot. This is the same data we were just looking at for the 6600. It crushes the 6600 down here. And there's a lot of titles in here with ray tracing turned on. If you turn off ray tracing, that 6700 XT will perform much more like a 3070. So an even bigger jump up. I stuck it out with the Ryzen 5 7600. I know in the previous Boost My Build, we went with a lesser CPU, the Ryzen 5600, and we got a 6800 non-XT GPU. Honestly, either way, you're gonna get about the same level of performance because the 5600 starts hitting a wall right around that 6800 to 6800 XT, where the 7600 is just gonna give a lot more performance. So kind of 6 of one, half a dozen the other. And I do like that this gives you future upgradability. It doesn't matter between, by the way, the 7600 7600X. Just happens that as I was doing this, 7600X went up $10. So I got to the 7600, just activate Precision Boost Overdrive and you'll be absolutely fine. For the cooler, I'd simply downsize the cooler. We don't need tons and tons of cooling. And the Deepcool AG400, it's all black. It's got great RGB to it. It's an overall good performance cooler. And right now it's like with the promo code, it's like $23. So pick this thing up right now. For the motherboard, because we needed a new case, I wanted to go micro ATX to save some money on the case. I went with a micro ATX motherboard with very similar features to the Gigabyte board, but for $159, I do like the MSI Pro B650M-A. It is probably one of the cheaper boards right now with Wi-Fi because my favorite pick, the ASRock RS B650, completely sold out with the Wi-Fi on it. And that usually goes for a lot cheaper, but absent that, this is a pretty good motherboard. For the RAM, I went with an RGB kit and I increased the speed. We fixed the speed on your RAM. DDR5 6000 CL30. I will say there's no real benefit going faster than 6000 CL30, despite the fact that AMD's new BIOS GISA will allow you to clock up RAM even much faster than this. There's just no benefit to it, so 6000 CL30 is where you want to go. Drive, we just went cheaper on the drive. Again, we're just trying to squeeze costs out of areas that aren't producing performance for us or noticeable performance in gaming, pump up our gaming performance basically. I went with a Silicon Power 1 terabyte NVMe drive. This is the A60. There's plenty of budget drives like this out there, $34. If you can pick up one of those MSI Spadium M.2s, they're even cheaper out there. I just was afraid that by the time you see this, that sale will be over and then you'll get this. So you get this or get one of the cheaper ones, either way. For the case, because the case you picked was sold out, I went with a good stand by the BitPhoenix Nova Mesh. This is the micro ATX case. I think last time I mistakenly said it has 4 ARGB fans. No, it has 3 ARGB fans, 2 in the front and 1 in the rear. It's a great case for $60. It's insane. It's got a PSU shroud to it. People should be buying these kinds of cases, and it's great to see the case market kind of coming back to earth. Speaking of markets coming back to earth, I love the Apivia Prestige 800 watt for only $66. This is a C tier rated PSU, so no thrills on it, but getting 800 watts for $67, pretty insane price. And again, we're gonna get rid of that terrible exploding PSU you had. We don't want that thing. It's a terrible unit. This is C tier or better. That's what we're looking for. So for $999.89, you're gonna get a CPU and GPU combo that actually makes sense right now in 2023 for 1440p gaming. We swapped out a case with one that's actually in stock and looks amazing. We got rid of that exploding PSU. You had exploding PSU, tuned up that RAM to a cheaper kit that's actually faster. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. Next, we've got Blue Gaming Minecraft, and Blue is a channel member. 2 thumbs up. Thank you for being a channel member. You can join today right there. You get cool stickers, you get cool emojis, fun live stream stuff once a month. So check out the join button below. But Blue says, Jason, I'm looking to buy a PC soon and my budget is $2,500. They've got 2 4K monitors. They play modded Minecraft at super RAM and CPU usage. They also do content creation, want to be able to basically play any AAA title at 120 FPS 4K. I will say right off the bat, some games, no matter what, even with a 4090, you would not get 120 FPS at 4K with 2 monitors. So I want to set our expectations, but we can, of course, get you an amazing system for $2,500. Let's see what you got. Okay, stop. Stop. I don't want you to put this build together the way you have it kitted out. I normally can sit here and say, oh, if you put this together, it'll be fine. Don't feel like I can 100% say that, and I don't want to give it a seal of approval. But good news is, I think we can fix it. You got about 98% of the way there, and then the 2% gap you missed, we kind of fell into a hole on. So let's fix it. And the good news is, at $2,336, that's where you finished out, we've got, what is that, about $164 to fix the build. I think we can get it done and get you the performance that you deserve. Let's talk about the thing I really like in this build first, which is I love you that you went with the 7900 XTX 24 gig GPU. Totally underrated GPU in my opinion, especially now that they're closer to $900 than $1,000. This is the XFX Speedster Merc that you're going with. Good unit for $960. There's also like the Power Color Hellhound. There's a number of really good units. And not only does it come with 24 gigs of VRAM, it comes with Starfield, $100 value. 2 thumbs up, premium edition there. Let's talk a little bit about the performance because I want us to be realistic. You said you want 120 FPS 4K, 2 screens, all titles. Look at this chart. This is the TechSpot RTX 4070 review. They include a number of titles in here I think that you'd like to play. You can go through the individual benchmarks. I'll leave them linked down in the video description. Check that out, 112 FPS. I'm not saying that makes the 7900 XTX terrible because it's the second highest freaking GPU on this chart. The only thing that beats it is a GPU that costs almost twice as much, the RTX 4090, and you don't have that kind of budget. I just want you to kind of get some reality in here. Now, I will say they use high and ultra settings wherever possible, and on titles that enable ray tracing by default, they leave it on. So I would disable ray tracing and I might turn things from ultra down to high basically, and get the performance that you're looking for on those multiple monitors. Now let's talk about the big challenges for this build, because there are many, but I feel like they all flow back to one single part, and that is the i9-13900KF. Couple things about this. First of all, the 14900KF or 14900K is just about to come out in September. It'll be announced probably about, I think it's September 21st is Intel's innovation event. That's when they always announce the next gen of CPU. So just stay tuned for that. I would not rush out to buy this. I think that's also why you're seeing this really good price on it, $526. They're trying to get it out the door before the 14900K. Now, it's not going to be as big of a jump between 13th and 14th gen as it was between 12th and 13th, which was actually really, really big. In fact, it surprised me it was so big. But this is a refresh as opposed to a new architecture. Okay, all that being said, the problem with the CPU, too much power, too much cooling required. It needs super fast DDR5 RAM in order to get the maximum out of it versus its rising competitors. Let's go through each of those and see how we did. For the cooling, the Enermac Liquimax 3 360 ARGB, Jason, 360 millimeter. Yeah, but it's not a super high performance. This is a budget tier cooler. I would use this on a 13600K on any of the Ryzen CPUs. For a 13900K, I don't want to see anything other than a super well-tested, high-performance liquid cooler on it. Let's just go there. Unless you know how to undervolt and you feel comfortable doing that, I don't want to get you into if you don't know what you're doing. I want more cooling. Now, $75, great deal on this cooler, 2 thumbs up, but not for the 13900K. On the motherboard, I don't know why ASUS did this, but they did not put BIOS flashback on their Tough Gaming Z690 or many of their Z690 boards. They put it on all their cheap end B650, but for some reason on their higher end Intel Z690 boards, they couldn't bother. I just don't get it. Great board, no BIOS flashback. You're just basically gambling. Could be that you get a board, works fine out of the box. Could be you get a board that you can't update the BIOS on. So I would skip it. Let's jump to your PSU next. Look, by my calculations, you need 1100 watts. And while you went with a good unit, the Enermax Revolution DF2, this is the ATX 3.0 unit, it's only 1050 units. And I don't want to be too much of a stickler, but I feel like I need to be a stickler here. We have super power hungry components. We are going to see transient power spikes. Yes, ATX 3.0 is supposed to handle those power spikes better. So maybe in the future, I will revise down my multiplier in terms of the wattage that I think you need, but I don't feel comfortable enough. I want to see these PSUs work like that for at least a year, for 2 years. I don't want to recommend this to you and then at this wattage, which I feel like is not enough. And then 3 weeks later, a Gamers Nexus comes out with the truth about ATX 3.0 power supplies. So let's go ahead and get you a unit with the proper wattage, which is going to cost quite a bit more money. I like this unit for 1000 watt rated stuff. It's a great price. It's a great unit, but not for this build. RAM, I love DDR5 6000 CL30. This is a great team group kit, 32 gigs, RGB, $95. RAM is getting so cheap. DDR5 just keeps coming down to the point where I feel like every week I have to revise my DDR5 recommendations because the prices just keep falling. But for these CPUs, if you want to get the most out of them, the Intel ones, you really need DDR5 7200 CL34s, I believe the XMP kit that we're looking for. It's going to cost you about $160-ish, although I haven't checked in a week, so maybe it's a little cheaper. But again, this is a great kit for Ryzen, not as much for like super fast for Intel. I like the drive SN850X, but remember, at 2 terabytes, the price per terabyte is much lower than if you jump up to a single 4 terabyte drive. I would get two 2 terabyte drives instead. It'll save you a lot of money and give you the same performance. For the case, the Antec DF700 Flux, 2 thumbs up. Great ARGB case. I really love it. $95. I can't wait to see your build in it. So overall, for $2,336, we've just missed the mark in a couple of critical areas. We got 98% of the way there, but that last 2% is killing us, and we can fix it. We can get you the build that you deserve. Okay, I'm joined by Mr. Bear, who decided he absolutely has to have Snuggles right this second, and he's got super sharp claws. We'll do this with a little bit of pain. And honestly, this was actually really easy to fix. So simple to fix. I called it the This Was Easy 4K build. And look at this. I finished it $2,222. That's right. Actually cheaper than you were going to, and it's going to give you insane levels of performance. It's virtually identical to your build. Why? I made a simple switch. I went with the Ryzen 7800X 3D. Right now, you can get this on sale for $385 at Newegg. Listen, I don't expect this deal to be there in whenever this video goes live. It's possible it will. They've been doing a couple of flash sales on like the 7800X 3D, but this is going to give you insane levels of performance. The only testing I can find in Minecraft with all the mods and stuff showed that at least with the 5800X 3D, it really preferred V cache, all that extra cache over just pure cores. So I went ahead and went with the 7800X 3D. I was initially thinking maybe we'll give you a 7950X 3D, maybe we'll go 13700K and we'll just get like more cooling, but that would just ended up being so much money. Simply swapping out the CPU like alleviates all of our problems pretty much, and it's gonna give probably more performance in games like Minecraft, where again, it wants that super high cache over something like, are you gonna walk in front? Over something like just tons and tons more cores. So the Ryzen 7800X 3D, 2 thumbs up right there. Again, on super sale right now to the point where I actually just posted it to the channel as well because I thought, oh my gosh, look how cheap this thing is. The other change I made is I got you the ASUS TUF board you were looking for, the ASUS TUF Gaming B650 Plus Wi-Fi. This is just the AM5 version, so you're gonna drop your Ryzen 7800X 3D in here. If you want, you could even spend the extra money on like a ROG Strix board if you really want one of those. If you're like super into ASUS parts, I totally understand. You can go that direction instead. This is a pretty good motherboard. I believe it's got ALC 1200 audio on it, got pretty good rear panel connectivity, and it has BIOS flashback on it. ASUS did not make that mistake again. $199, so actually not even that much more than that older Z690 board. And actually, I was going through it here again. Mr. Babe jumped in and reminded me that I was going to go ahead and divide up that 4TB drive into two 2TB drives, and you can see the impact. So rather than being $300 for 4TB, it's $240 for 4TB as long as we divide it up. And that's just the way it is right now. Maybe at some point 4TB drives will become the better price to performance option. It used to be 1TB was the sweet spot. It's really kind of rapidly moved to 2TB being the sweet spot. But right now I would pick this up instead, and it's going to save us $50. So we actually came down to $2,162. Otherwise, I stayed with the same build because the RAM's great, DDR5 6000 CL30, especially with the new AGESA out that will allow you to easily clock up the RAM. I loved the case, loved the GPU, power supply, totally sufficient. All we had to do was switch the CPU and the motherboard, and we did our job. You're gonna get insane levels of performance at 4K, just like we showed you, just about 120 FPS in all your titles, and you're not gonna have to deal with super overheated CPU cooling. You're not gonna have to deal with, oh my gosh, I've run out of power in my black screen, and you're not gonna have to think about trying to clock up stupidly high memory. So I hope you feel like your build is boosted. Remember, if you got value out of the video, give it a like. This makes a huge difference in the channel, especially this guy right here. And of course, subscribe, click that bell icon. That way you get notified when we release cool content. Speaking of cool content, did you see our monthly GPU market update? We go through the pricing of all the GPUs right now. Are prices gonna go up? Are they gonna go down? Check them out, and we'll catch you on the next one.